Welcome back to Cigar Connection family. This is your host Croomy of the Cigar Connection Show, and we are back for the first episode of 2023, and we're back at the home lounge of Harlem Sanctuary, and I have the honor to have a very special guest on the show, Chef Catore. Chef?
Hi.
How are you today?
I feel good. It's a good day. The 2023 is gonna be a great year. I'm so excited.
I'm feeling it for this year. I'm feeling 2023 for this year. I normally came up with the saying recently that I'm not going to go by the years anymore. I'm just going to go by day and just take it that way and just keep growing and keep going. Trying to change mindsets of, some people sometimes say start over with a new year instead of, pick up from where you left off at and just keep going.
Yeah, today is like the last day of Mercury retrograde, so everything that happened yesterday doesn't exist anymore.
Okay,
so...
well, you got to explain a little bit more that. But we're here, welcome. Thank you again. I wanted to say thank you for meeting with me a couple of weeks ago and agreeing to come on the show.
Most definitely.
To give your history and journey, talk about who you are a little bit. To be an encouragement to some other people and to, have some more cigar smokers and some more your fans get to hear more about Cigar Connection Show and what I'm trying to do for entrepreneurs, and just granting me with the presence of this interview.
No, I'm excited. I love stuff like this.
You do?
No, because it's community based.
Yep.
It's for us, and I always look at people as my family.
Gotcha.
Definitely not fans, definitely
family. Okay. So before we get into it, what are you smoking on today?
Oh, this is a sexy one. So I have a Monte Cristo here. I have the Platinum Series.
Okay.
It is very, very good.
That is a good cigar. Cheers. I had that. That was some of the first cigars, Monte Cristo, when I first started out smoking.
I don't remember what I started with. I'm trying to advance a lot throughout the years.
Well, we're gonna get into all of that. But I'm having a Arturo Fuente Gran Reserva today. Since Harlem Sanctuary got the in, this has been one of my go-to sticks here. Nice. So I'm deciding to go with it today. I know everyone knows I normally try to smoke a boutique brand today, but I got some different ones coming for y'all for this year, for the seasons of 2023 for the episode. So just stay tuned. I just want to make sure and continue to bring out something good.
Let me try one of those that you get.
I got you.
Got to support our people.
So, I know we're not sipping on anything today, but you have your drink. I have my water already, but I forgot it. But I guess we'll do a cigar toast. Just make a toast as I close my interview.
Allow?
Yeah.
Like say, I toast too?
Make a toast for something.
I toast to greatness every day, to productivity, to more engaging conversations, and to more collaborations.
Guys, I am with that, 110%.
So you like tap the cigars when you toast?
Yeah, we could do a cigar tap. So I'm gonna jump straight into it. First, before we even get into your whole journey, your whole what made you become a chef, who is Chef Catore?
Oh man, I would say Chef Catore is forever finding herself. I'm always reinventing new ways to, be a chef in this industry.
Okay.
I'm a person who's been through many hardships. I've been through many sicknesses. I've been through the foster care system. So Chef Catore derives well after, Andy Chagrin. So I am the prerequisite, to things that went really left to eventually go really right.
Right. Okay.
So as far as like Chef Catore, I'm a very resilient. I'm a businesswoman. I love mentoring and working with youth and giving back to the community, giving back to foster care, just traveling and learning food and just building a brand. I am a hard-working businesswoman. I'm very, very, very anal about everything that I do.
Okay. So, well, I know we spoke a little bit about some things we was going to talk about, and I normally don't like to get the responses before we talk. You know, I
Okay.
just like to give out the questions. And normally, what that gives me is, as we're having our conversation, it becomes so natural that, you know, some other questions may come up while we're talking, because I feel as if those questions may be beneficial to those that are watching, or your, what's that word again you use? Not fans, but
family.
Family. I believe it will be good for your family because it gives a little bit of insight of who you are.
That is true.
So you said you went through the system, which, you know, and that's a rough thing, because my sister did at one point growing up, and you know, I feel like that, you know, gives people a level of motivation,
Mm-hmm.
a level of drive, a level of self confidence that they have to build themselves, because at one point it's like you're relearning yourself once you come back out.
Yes. You're learning how to be self sufficient. You're learning how to mature in a world where you kind of grew up on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You're learning what do you want to do with yourself, because a lot of times in foster care you don't really have anybody telling you this is the best career field. They're not looking at the things a normal parent may look at, like, oh, my daughter loves to be in the kitchen, or my daughter's really good at hair.
Mm-hmm.
Foster parents, most are not really paying attention to what you could potentially be. So you go out thinking these are the norms, the social norms of what you should be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I ended up becoming a social worker, which I loved for 10, 11 years. And it taught me a lot of the things in business and administration that carried on to my business now. But originally, I didn't know that this was the life for me. I never had nobody telling me I should be a cook or I should be in the restaurant hospitality industry. I had to learn that through a situation that went totally wrong, health-wise, and I had to make a decision about where my life was going to be.
So this wasn't, Chef Catore wasn't a passion. It wasn't
Oh,
a dream. It wasn't something you grew up.
I did not expect to be I thought I was going to be like super social worker. I was going to save the world, save all the foster children, have group homes and safe spaces, and teach them everything they needed to know to age out successfully. I had this whole plan in my head that dealt with social work. And it just went really left. I had ovarian cancer. I had a pseudo tumor that turned into a brain tumor. And then partially paralyzed. I had partial paralysis. I had partial paralysis. Man, it lasted a strong 3 months and then a good year of recovery. So at an early age, in my early 30s, I went through great physical trauma. Prior to that, I went through great emotional and mental trauma. So it was kind of like when I was working in social services, you know, disability.
Yeah.
But then your job goes. Can't keep you no more. You're not coming back. Like, we don't know when you're coming back. I didn't even have a date to come back because of my surgeries.
And were you with the city at the
I was with nonprofit.
Nonprofit, okay.
Yes. So my company, to no fault, technically of their own, ended up losing a contract with the city and the state that funded. Everybody lost their job. So while I was out on disability, everybody lost their job. So it's not like I don't know if I'm coming back to a job. Nobody came back to a job. So literally that happened, and I promise you, I had to figure out what I wanted to do, but in the midst of that, pandemic happened. I started my business 2019. Right before pandemic.
2019.
Right before pandemic. I had an LLC a couple of months before the pandemic even happened. Crazy. So it's just funny how you look at something and you go, a tragic situation turned into my passion, my life.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly. But I had to go through, you know how they always say, why would God put me through this? Oh. And I literally sat there looking at the wall one day, hurt and pain, wondering, why are you doing this to me? And I said to myself, hold up. I've been through so much in life. I'm pretty sure if I can get through this, he has something far greater planned for me. look at that wall in my bed. I said that to myself. If I could just get up, walk a little bit each day, because I had to hold my head and walk at the same time, because I had like a ricocheting effect going off in my head.
So it's like,
so I had to choose. No. If you ever seen in the streets like a drill,
yes,
that's what's going on in my brain.
Mm.
Because I had my brain's the nerves. So I had to choose to walk or hold my head or not walk at all. So I had to push myself every day. A girlfriend of mine, she stayed with me for 30 days straight. And I had people coming by, family, checking on me periodically throughout the weeks. But I'll tell you, never did I expect to be a chef. I was on bed rest, on disability, not knowing what the next move was. And a friend said, I said, what am I going to do? She said, cook. I said, cook. Because to my mind, cook means work in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Cook. I'm not, in Foster, they don't teach you about business management.
No?
They don't teach you about LLCs or S Corps or anything that's small business, big business related.
That helps you employ yourself.
Never.
Take care of yourself.
That's not even a conversation in our community.
I was going to say
you
that
understand?
too. So sometimes
that's not
that's not a conversation right away.
So even at the age of 30, I didn't know what running a business meant. I worked with people who ran businesses but didn't know what running a business meant. I was put in a difficult situation to have to research to figure out how to be a boss. And that's what happened. I got better. I took a business entrepreneurship course.
Okay.
That was the first company that hired me, nonprofit, for catering gig. And they're still my clients since then.
So they help. You took a course. So you invested in yourself, and at the end of the day, they reinvested in you.
I basically showed up at a sold out seated event. Mm-hmm. Could not get a ticket online and still showed up, hoping that somebody didn't show up. Sat in the front. They went around looking for the ticket. I said, come right back. I'm looking for my ticket. They came back. I said, I'll be honest with you, I don't have a ticket. He made me stand in front of everybody. And he said, this is what an entrepreneur looks like. She didn't let tickets sold, no more seats, stop her from still coming. This is the definition of true entrepreneurship. She didn't let a no stop. Graduated, they were my first client. Actually, they were a double client because it was two nonprofits in one. So one hired me, then the next hired me, then the next. And that's how it started. How
was the cooking journey for you? Did it just come for you?
No, I messed up a lot of filet mignons. Jesus. I didn't know what a halibut was. All I knew was flounder, catfish, whiting, and tilapia. Before I knew tilapia was, well, that's another history story.
We could talk about that later.
That's an Egyptian history story. I'm not going to go there. But I didn't know about the finer foods. Yeah. I didn't know proper rendering. I didn't know about all these herbs. I didn't know how to manipulate a plate or spacing, or I didn't know about that. I knew family style. I knew what grandma put out at the table.
Gotcha.
You understand? I didn't know how to do none of that. I didn't know about basing with butter and herb. I throw the chicken and you season it, you throw it in the oven in the aluminum pan and you go 350. I didn't even know proper temperature isn't even 350. So I went to culinary school, but culinary school is great. But the real art of cooking and the real art of culinary is through trial and error. It's through putting yourself out there, having people believe in you and bet on you and putting you in their homes and their kitchens and for their events, taking a chance on you and you learning as you go. It also is volunteering yourself with people that you look up to, that you want to emulate, and say, hey, use me, the physical hands, for your events so that I can learn. I'm teachable.
Yeah.
So I had to put myself and put my pride and ego aside and say, I'm a novice. Teach me.
Yeah.
And I learned from people that I found on social media. Or I would reach out to people and say, hey, who can you pair me with as a mentor? And I just worked for free for a long time.
So it's not like you, so this, you see, wow. So it's not like you even had mentors to sit here and say, let me do this, let me do that. You use the power of social media.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Most definitely.
To get to where you need to get to.
Most definitely. What I did was I used the hashtags.
Okay.
Private chef, chef NYC, just whatever hashtags worked. And I went on Facebook and I started joining chef groups.
Okay.
Hi, I'm a chef. I'm new. Well, I'm not a chef. I'm
I'm
going to culinary school and I'm about to graduate. And can you please pair me with somebody that I could start to engage with in New York City? I don't know anything about this world. Is somebody open to engaging with me and pointing me in the right direction?
So with that, was you? And you know, I'm gonna ask a couple of different words because I feel they go different. Was you scared, nervous? Definitely, I can see you wasn't shy. And did you worry about that word no being told to you?
So no, okay. I wasn't worried about rejection.
Okay.
I am a very extroverted person. I don't think there's an introverted bold in me unless I'm by myself.
Okay.
I've always believed all you can do is tell me no, but there's a very good possibility you can tell me yes. And I don't. They always say you have to exhaust a bunch of no's to get to a yes. When I used to work in social services, my executive director, she sent me out on a mission to look for some parking spots, and I came back. I said, I can't find nothing. She said, you didn't look hard enough. I said, I looked everywhere. She goes, you telling me no, but you haven't even looked for one yes. Something has to make sense.
Yeah.
And we can figure out a way to make it work. And I went back out and I went searching. And I went to NYCHA, New York City Public Housing, and I went to their office and I said, do y'all rent out spots for nonprofits? And she was like, yeah, we have a whole section that's just for outside vendors and stuff, and you can rent it for XYZ amount for the year.
There you go.
But sometimes you exhaust all your no's because it's not right in front of you, and you don't go venturing outside of your expected norm for a yes.
That comfort zone.
So I have a saying, and I say this often: be okay being uncomfortable. You are at your greatest when you are uncomfortable. When you're comfortable, you're too lax. Something's wrong. Find a way to be uncomfortable.
Everybody, find a way to be uncomfortable.
It's so true. When I'm comfortable, I'm mad at myself. When I'm uncomfortable, I'm excited for myself. It's about to happen.
Good. Well, we haven't even got here. Like, the paper's here. Look, the paper's here. We haven't even gotten over here. So we're gonna bring some cigar. Let's bring some cigar talk into this a little bit. What does cigars do for you?
Takes me out of my day to day. It is probably the one time in a day or a week that I feel the most relaxed. Like relaxed. When I'm in the kitchen, I'm fast paced, I'm energetic, I'm passionate, I'm happy, I'm excited. It's second nature.
Okay.
But it's a sense of relief, of peace, of the cigar world in general, and cigars is a place that you go not only to meet new people, to make brothers and sisters that you never thought that you could ever make, and to share commonality. But when you smoke, if you're not smoke right, it's calming. It has a very calming and soothing. It literally feels like your whole day just. If it went wrong, it ain't no more. And if it went right, this made it even better.
Yeah,
it's the truth. And if you got the right cigar, you got to know what's good for your palate. But it's the people that you are around. Because most of the time we sit back in our chairs and we're silent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're just kicking back and it's our own element. But you still have people around you, even if y'all aren't really engaging. And it's just a great ambiance. Just to have people who share something with you. You don't gotta speak to understand it. And as a woman, you have no idea how many men have walked up to me and are shocked at my range of cigars. And they're like, you have that? How'd you get your hands on that? What you know about that? You understand? So they're just like amazed and shocked that I know certain types of cigars. Mm-hmm. And that makes me feel good, confident. It makes me feel like I'm part of the crew. You know, that I'm at the big boys table. And the crew, and don't get me wrong, I love my women cigar smokers. Dope women that I've met. and we share a lot, you know, and we go to our backyard events together or go away to different cities and states and Atlanta Cigar Week, New York Cigar Week, and everything,
Yes.
and meet new people. But it makes me feel like I'm understood outside of food.
Gotcha. And is that a big thing to you from like?
Yeah, cause in culinary, and I'm the most anybody. I'm the most humble person, and I know humble can be an overused word.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the one time I'm introverted is when people come up to me. Oh my God, you're Chef Catore, and I'm grateful.
I felt like that. I was like, oh.
I'm grateful, but they don't really do that in the cigar world. It's kind of just like, oh, that's the chef. She cooked up food. Puff puff. Like, they don't. It's just, but outside, you have the beautiful people who know who you are and they want to talk and learn about you, and it makes me feel so good inside that people even notice me, because it's so many other industries to notice. So to notice a black girl like me is kind of like, wow, I did something that's memorable to somebody. But in the cigar world, it's kind of like I can just be Couture. I don't have to have the chef in front of it.
Well, like I told you the story. Like here's the story of how I first learned about Chef Catore. It had to be.
I would try these ratchets out.
Oh, matches is good. Yeah. I like matches better than butane sometimes.
One day I'm gonna interview you actually.
So tell y'all the story real quick, and then we're going to get back to it. But my cousin, when I was coming up with my idea for Talking Sticks, as y'all all know, which was the first brand of it, now it's Cigar Connection show. He was like, you gotta try to interview her. I said, who's her? Like, my cousin just sends me a DM and calls me out of the blue, and I'm looking, it's cooking. I was more like, dang, I want to try the food.
People tell me they can smell and taste my food through the screen, and I'm like,
I was
what?
like, I was making scallops, and I mean, those things was just, I was just like, man. But I like,
people eat visually first.
Really?
They eat with their eyes before they even book you.
I'm a fat guy. And so my cousin, he's going through it, and we have like this whole idea to try to get you, like I wanted to do an interview with you cooking, and then try to interview while we like have the dishes, because I want to taste.
We can still do that.
So all right, we'll come back to
okay.
that. Can't tell you all of that now. So, but I seen that she was at she posted a video going through everyone's stories and everything, and I was like, she's at HS, and I was like, dang, I was supposed to go to HS. I finally could have met her. But I was like, let me just send her a DM real quick, like, is you at HS? And she responded. She said yes. And I said, hey, listen, I said, I would be straightforward. I said, I've been following you, I've been trying to meet you out, like that, a meeting with you. I didn't really tell her everything, and she just said yes. And it as you say, it was more of the Leaf Fellowship, and just, knowing that there's nothing else more to it, to just, and look at where we are here.
What got traction with me noticing your page, and it's probably a little Instagram secret. A lot of people will send me messages, and I won't answer a lot. But you liked a lot of food photos, so you were a constant Instagram page on my feed. So when I went to look and see, like if I looked and seen who responded, you were always there liking some food. So the host, and then that's when I see the message. I was like, oh, really cool. You understand? So it's like sometimes we don't see everything. So, but I saw the cigars, so the connect. I was like, oh, okay, cigars, and to me, it's cigars. So it was really cool to know that you had a podcast. So I was like, oh man, and you're actually podcast. I know you into the whole No New Me 2023, but I actually put podcasts on my 2023 vision board. It wasn't on my 2022.
Okay.
So you are actually my first podcast of 2023, and that was one of my 2022 mental goals to do in 2023 was to do more podcasts. It's so important to tell your story. It's so important to talk about things that you love. And it's so important to have a natural conversation.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I mean, this is something I used to love doing, talking to people, interacting with people. I'll tell you a little bit. My last job for 10 years.
Tell me about yourself.
Well, talk
Yes.
about me.
Who is Cigar Connections?
Who is Cigar Connections? So, Cigar Connections here says Mr. Crooms. My name is Joel Crooms. Some people call me Croomy. Some people call me Joe. Some people call me Jay. Um, but I'm someone who I love entrepreneurship. I do. When I was fresh out of high school, when the car scene was big with the big systems and everything, I went to um, an automobile school called Mobile Tech Training in South Hackensack, New Jersey. I learned how to work on cars.
Alpha Sack is what?
South Hackensack.
South Hackensack,
New Jersey.
Okay, that was a tongue twister.
Learned how to do radios and customizations, and then from there was able to tone the skill a little bit as far as like electrical troubleshooting. And until everything with cars today, because it comes with everything, I kind of seen in the future that that wasn't it. So went back to school, did some things, and after 10 years of working a job, had some misfortunes, some mishaps. My cousin and my fiance at the time was like, "Yo, you got to do something with cigars. Smoke cigars. You go to cigars events." And I was like, "Do something with cigars." Like,
you never think.
All I want to do is smoke cigars. But as I asked you that question, no, I have reached out to a lot of entrepreneurs after watching for like weeks upon weeks. I watched Cam Newton sip and smoke.
I would just
I would go in my backyard when the family would go to sleep. Y'all playing space. Well, tell him his sip and smoke show was a big motivation for me.
He's a good space man.
And I watched it over and over and over. Every episode, I watched over and over and over. And I said, I like what he's doing. He's not just having these celebrities come on the show talk about any and everything. You know, Steve Harvey came and talked about his life, about being homeless and the struggle. The Brat came on and talked about. The Brat came on and talked about what she's learned from the music industry and going to jail. He had DeVell Ellis on there. He had David Ben on there, and I listened to the questions that he asked and their responses and how they interacted because I wanted something different for my show. I didn't want to just have people on and just let's just talk. No, let's make it a purpose. So I came up with the idea of interviewing entrepreneurs and having them come on my show and talk about their business and talk about themselves, and hopefully it could build bond with their clientele based already or their future clientele, and just keep building the web to where I can have connections with individuals that can sometimes be very hard to get into because they're so busy, but because it's Cigar Connections.
Yeah, it bonds.
People will make a exception.
Not even exception. People just take some time out to do what they do on a regular basis, but talk and do it.
And I've been doing this since July, I think 2021 was my first interview with Aki of Staten Island Diner. Shout out to Aki of Staten Island Diner. If you ever on Staten Island, go to Staten Island Diner. Tell them Joel sent you. Okay. Ask for Aki or Joey. Okay. Tell them Joel sent you, and just sit down and enjoy yourself. I love it. Enjoy yourself. But that's my little story right here.
You know how many people? Because I heard you say you started in 2021. They stagnate so much. They don't get to this point. They don't get to the point of actually taking the leap to reach out to people, seeing if somebody's going to say yes. And I said this earlier on my stories on Instagram. I said, support those that are starting a business. Don't worry about how many followers they have. Do those podcasts, do those conversations, do that mentorship. Stop worrying about reciprocity all the time. Just do it because somebody just wants to be an entrepreneur and they just may not know how to start, or they may have started and just need some support.
Yes, that's a big thing. That's a very big thing, and I've learned that in this cigar culture, when you're around the right people, um, that support comes without second. It's just like, hey, I'm doing this, and
Yes.
the right people is going to sit here and either offer their doors, like, and I say this all the time. Thank you, Harlem Sanctuary. Always open their doors
Yes,
to me
definitely.
to sit down and have other entrepreneurs come through and
Very open.
and do this. So let's jump back into it. Let's get back to you. Okay. So with you being a chef and the palate, you talked about palate a little bit. How does you being around all these herbs and spices affect your palate when it comes to cigar smoke?
I think I'm able to taste the beauty of a cigar more now than I did when I first started.
Okay, why is that?
Like food, you start off with your struggle plates,
Got you.
and then you get a little bit better, and then you keep at it. You don't give up on it. You try new things. You try new flavors. You try new bodies. You try new elevations.
Okay.
You try new brands. And cigar smoking is very similar to cooking and food because you elevate. I started with flavors,
Okay.
and now I'm medium bodied a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit more on the harsher side, but I never would have thought I would have been, at this level of smoking. Just like with my food, all I knew was parsley, maybe basil, and it was all dried herbs that was in a seasoning.
Okay.
Now everything to me is fresh herbs.
Gotcha.
I'm picking my herbs. I'm chopping my herbs myself. You understand? I'm advancing to other things like eucalyptus leaves and juniper berries and that's not a herb. It's a seasoning. But things that I've never ever would have tried or smelled. I'm in the markets and I know them by smell now. I know what works for me. I know I can push back for something and be like, that's not going to work for you. As far as fruits, any type of produce, I can look at fish and tell it's wrong. I can smell a fish now and tell it's wrong. Before I started in culinary, I didn't know the difference. I didn't know that if I kept the steak in the freezer too long, that I was freezer burned. You understand? For example, just like with cigars, like I can touch a cigar now, and I know that it wasn't properly in the humidifier.
It wasn't probably.
You understand? Or it's too dry. It's too hard. I cannot smoke that. When I first started, I did not know that.
You just picking it up.
I just picked up like, why is it so crumbly? And I'm licking it, trying to put it back in place. Like, oh, it's dying. Oh my God, I gotta help you. You understand? But now I know, no, that's a bad cigar. You have to, repurpose your humidifier. Or there's not enough water in it.
It's not going to smoke good.
It's not going to smoke good. Your temperature is off. You need to recalibrate it. By stove. Sometimes it needs recalibrated. So all of these things in cigars and cooking are so similar to taste, to touch, to feel, to smell. And I probably never even thought about that until just now. I really never correlated the two. But it is the truth. Every herb is different. Every cooking technique is different. You don't cook chicken the way you cook steak. You don't cook fish the way you cook duck. You understand? Or you don't cook fish the way you cook a scallop. So you don't make one sauce the way you make a puree. The hand rolled versus, you understand? Like, it's different levels. You got to fill everything out, try everything out, see what works for you, and test it as you go.
See, like I love hot sauce. I love pepper.
I can't.
So when I'm smoking a cigar and I taste that peppery taste, but it's just right. It's not too overwhelming. It puts me at a level of like yes, I got it.
So you look for taste.
I love how to say it. I'm always, as everyone knows, I'm always open to trying your cigar.
Okay.
Okay. I have worked on certain methods now, as far as like, I'll either drink sparkling water, or I'll drink high balance alkaline water.
Okay.
And then I'll do that while I'm having my cigar. Try to have my palate as clean as possible. Especially if it's a new cigar, especially if it's a boutique brand.
Yes, we do that with coffee. We drink coffee.
I love coffee too. I gotta keep my heart rate down,
Coffee,
so I gotta chill out
have
with
it
the
black.
coffee.
Black. Nothing else. That's how you clean your palate. In
Sugar,
our
brown
world.
sugar.
Yeah, it's okay. But see how you look for like the more spicy kind of taste. I enjoy a cigar by how it goes here, comes back.
Okay, when you retro hit.
When I retro hit. So if I this isn't us owned cigar brand, but I have a specific cigar that's my favorite.
Okay.
And I literally go into a state of euphoria when I smoke because the way that it smokes, it's like I'm always tugging for more, but it's just right.
It's just right.
And I be looking at it sometimes like this, like, how are you smoke so perfect? And that's how I talk to my food. Like, how are you just so beautiful and sexy? You know, I be looking at, I did it the other day playing Spain, and I had the cigar. I think you were here. Yep. And I was just like, God, you smoke so beautiful. And I look at my food the way I look at my cigars, like just a masterpiece or a form of art, or how did I do that? Or, man, you know?
So where does that inspiration come from? Like when you sit down, or if you're given an event, sometimes if they don't give you a menu and they say, you know, do your thing, where do you get your inspiration from? What like helps that creative mind start flowing?
The relationship with the client.
Okay.
It has to start off there. My energy, it means people know me. I will cancel a game real quick if my energy does not sit with whatever is going on at the moment. Whether it's the client, whether it's the ambiance, whether it's the venue, whether it's the not working to collaborate, because food is love.
Yes.
And if I cannot work and cook in a peaceful mindset, you're not going to get the best version of what I do. So when I cook, or when I choose to do a menu and start to curate, I have to feel the energy of who I'm working for.
Okay.
See what the client or the venue's overall vision is, and I can look at something and say, okay, this is what aesthetically I see it being. Somebody wants me to do a Marvel Avengers theme event. They're like, what would you cook for this? And I instantly go to them, what's neon? Tricolor carrots.
Okay.
You understand? Like I start thinking of color compositions, purple kale, things that are bright, you know, things that are, you know, that type of vibe, but then you have to add some dark into it. You know, how would you incorporate the dark with the light and put it together? And that's just how I look at food. I look at food when I curate a menu based on what's the theme, what are you doing it for? It could be a repass, but what was the spirit of the person? You understand? Were they a dark person, or were they a person that would like it? And I just basically feed off the energy of other people, and I always ask people that I work for, what foods do you like? And are you open to trying something different? So if they're open to trying something different, then I can bring out things that I've never tried.
Gotcha.
You understand? So I sometimes I use my clients to try things that I want to try, that I haven't tried. So some of my menus, I've made this statement a few times. Some things I've given people I've never even done before. You were my guinea pig and didn't even know it, and it came out fantastic. But if you have an open palate, great. If you don't have open palate, I try to make it so I can make the same thing 100 times, but different at the same time. So if I may make a Cornish hen, I may braise it different, I may sear it different, I may machine it, French it, I may leave it regular because some black people in my community, what's that? Where the rest of the skin on the end of my chicken bone? Why did you take the skin off my chicken leg? You understand? Like it may seem crazy, but I've had people say that to me. Why would you give me this little skinny chicken leg bone? Put my skin back. I can't put the skin back.
I want that
exactly.
Skin
I like the skin. I like the fat. So you got to engage with your client and just see what they like, because it could be that one thing that could be a memory for them, and you took it from them. So you gotta remember to just you may not always get it right.
Gotcha.
You understand? You have to be okay with that too. I made a couple of mistakes in my career that I had to take hits for, but it was part of the learning process, and it may have hurt that I had to learn on somebody else's time and dime. I'll always rectify the situation, but that's a part of the learning curve. And with cigars, you may choke. You understand?
Yeah, the first time you go choke.
Yeah, you may choke. Somebody may look at you like, what are you doing? Because you may not know how to light it right.
Mm-hmm.
You may be burning one end and not burning the other end, and you're killing the cigar. And people may look at you like you're crazy. I think one of the most honorable things I've ever seen in a cigar room when I first came, it was a young gentleman in his 30s, and he had just came fresh into the cigar room. And he didn't know what he was really doing, just wanted to be a part. And a couple of the OGs in the cigar room came over to him and was like, brother, let me teach you how to do this. I thought that was so dope. So many of us in here will see somebody just sit there, they don't know nothing about cigars, they go in the room with you, teach you about the cigars. They even have classes where they teach women about cigars, like on Women's Night. And they have courses and teach us about cigars. And I think that's so great that they opened the door for us. Like, hey, we know you may not know. I mean, when you really seen in my grandma's time, my grandma and my mama sitting around with the men smoking cigars. We didn't see that. We was in the kitchen. I was in the kitchen with the for my roots. You understand? We weren't out there on the patio or in the backyard or in the living room with the men.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I look at food in that light too, because the women in culinary we were prominent, but now we're like extremely prominent out there now. And the cigar world too. The women have blossomed so much and become such an intricate part of the cigar world. And it's just beautiful, like Harlem Sanctuary. I love the fact that they're so female focused. Y'all already male dominated, but y'all, Harlem Sanctuary opens their doors to women. They don't miss a moment that comes to inviting women to say, this can be your safe smoking space. And that's why I love Harlem Sanctuary. I love a lot of other spots, but this, they're very women focused. And making sure that we're good.
Harlem Sanctuary, we're very unique here. If you are in New York.
Yes, and it's so much like a chic society. You know, like you got the special bell outside, and you got back 4 times.
And it's totally different. The look
and it's
outside,
a membership.
the look outside, and the vibe inside is 2 different things. So you do have to come by here and enjoy it. Like tonight is women's women that smoke cigars.
Yeah.
Cat, CB. They doing their thing tonight. So
forward to going upstairs and enjoying
that's
and they always give us roses. You know how they say, give me your flowers?
You gotta give the
we always get our flowers here. That's a fact. So we definitely get our flowers here.
I know there's so much more we could talk about. And
I don't think I like it actually that much.
Oh, you gotta hold on, let me show you. I'm gonna show you the trick for matching.
Yeah,
right?
Because I use my torch. You know, I'm a chef, so we
when I do matching, I always do 2. Because you want the sulfur to burn first.
Okay. Oh wait. Cold dairy. See how it works? We use a torch for cigars, and we use a torch to brulee and to like pineapples and meat. Yeah, but I'm saying we torch our food.
Yeah.
See, good similarities.
We go with the sulfur burn.
Oh, I was doing it too fast.
Yeah.
Speedy Gonzalez behind.
Now go ahead. I got you.
Okay.
And just rotate like you would normally do.
And I know what I'm doing.
And so we're gonna jump into.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's smooth.
And it gives the cigar. It is said to let the cigar taste last a whole lot longer.
Okay.
Because the butane burns so hot, and you gotta keep the flame back and everything. Like the whole process.
They told me that too.
So we're gonna jump straight into the cigar question of the hour.
Okay.
Because we've been talking a bit, and we gotta get upstairs has to get going. So I know you have a lot going for 2022. Can you talk about one thing that you have set in concrete that's maybe a special event or something for everyone to look out for that they can participate or attend that you're doing this year that's coming
up? Man, this is a big year for me. So, this may not mean a lot to many people, but it means a great deal to me. Getting certified as a chef, people just think you're in a kitchen cooking all the time.
Okay.
I wanted to push myself outside of that and actually work in big business.
Okay.
So I actually solidified a contract with Google, Apple. So I'll be doing a lot of their Black focused departments.
Yes.
And then I also have a couple of ventures as far as nonprofit and Department of Education that I'm working on. And it's very important to me to work and do a lot of community efforts. And that's something in the beginning of my career I knew nothing about. Contracts.
Yeah.
Building those businesses, building that relationship with businesses that could keep you busy.
Got you.
All year long. And then you can also work with the youth and the community. And I'm doing something in the Space and Trumpet Museum.
Nice.
Like in a couple months. Like, who would have thought I'd be in the Space and Trumpet Museum doing a live food demonstration? And then they'd be coming back to my commercial kitchen to shoot 2 live segments for YouTube.
Nice. Congratulations.
So, thank you. So that's with the Department of Education. And it's not, celebrity based, but it's definitely where my heart is based. And I think that means more to me than anything, that I'm doing something that I genuinely love. And I give my all to everything, but there are certain things that's always going to hold dear to you. So I love working with youth, kids, and just people who look at food as beautiful as I look at it. And I never even knew that to people being a chef was like a cool thing.
Yeah.
And people think we're like Michelle Obama and Baraka of culinary. They think that all of us are really dope. And I think that makes me feel really good. So.
All right, so everyone, look out for that. Make sure to follow the page. So what she did, if you could come and support or have something to show your kids and let them experience something.
At Chef, ChefCatore.
Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we go?
The Cigar, Harlem Sanctuary, definitely for having such a beautiful ambiance and space for collaborating. Definitely you for reaching out.
Thank you.
And for opening this platform for me. It's such a beautiful platform. Look at the ambiance. All of anybody who supported me, who's reached out to me to tell me that I do something that makes them feel motivated or good, or they resonate with my story and my passion. The people just check on me just to say, how you doing? How's your mental health? Those check on your strong friends, that means a lot. So to everybody who does that and everybody who understands why I do it to them, definitely want to shout y'all out. That means more to me than anything.
So everyone, please, well, let me pay the bills first. Shout out to the original Smoke collection for the Cigar Connected bracelet. I got a shout out to my custom tailor down in Houston, GC Fitted, who got me on point once again with my shirt and my pants and my suit jacket. Once again, shout out to Harlem Sanctuary. Thank you for opening your doors, and thank you, Chef Catore,
thank you so much
for blessing the Cigar Connection show with your presence and your story,
awesome.
And your motivation and just everything.
Thank
so
you.
Once again, tell them on Instagram where they can find you again.
You can find me on Instagram at ChefCatore.
And everything will be at the end of the credits, as y'all know I normally do. And with that being said, we're gonna go upstairs. We're gonna take part of Harlem Sanctuary's Women That Smokes Wednesdays, and we're gonna enjoy ourselves. And we'll catch y'all on the flip side. And as I always say, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support. Please like and follow the page on Instagram and YouTube. And I'll see y'all around. Peace, love, and God bless.